sign says look over or overlook. So forgiveness is the ability to overlook seeming error. To see right over the top of it. So I remember I had a very early meditation when I first started training, where there happened to be as always, there was a war going on. And someone brought up concern about the war in the class. And the teacher said, yes, it's unfortunate. And it's all our consciousness. All. See, I thought he meant maybe just like a psychosomatic illness. It's all just in your mind. But he said it's all of our consciousness. Together, we are conspiring to stay at war. Even when we think we are for peace, many times what we really are is against war, which sets up still more conflict. And Mother Teresa always said that when she was asked to participate, like in any kind of a protest or anything like that, she wouldn't protest anything. She said, I can march for peace, but I can't march against war. And so this is a lesson that is prominent in almost all spiritual teachers. They say, don't be against anything. But Jesus says, resist not evil. Don't be against anything. Be for something. Be for the opposite. So the teacher said when the concern was raised about the war, he said, keep your sight above the battlefield. Overlook it. See that what the truth is even though it seems as though there is death, that in spirit there is no death. And you can even visualize spirits rising, if that helps. To keep your eye above the battlefield. To overlook. Now, in battle, there's this position in these military operations that are ongoing now around the world as warfare, continues to modernize. There's a position above the fray that's called Overwatch. Is what they call the person who's up high somewhere at some vantage point, and he's a spotter, and his job in these military operations is to keep the operators safe. Now, this may seem like an inappropriate analog for us on a spiritual journey that probably would not include a desire to be involved in any kind of mayhem like this, but it illustrates the function of our own inner observer. That which within us is our Overwatch. That voice, that teacher that's within us that is seeing above the battlefield, that is seeing in order to guide us. Now, this inner guide, of course, Miracles calls it a Holy Spirit. The Buddhists call it the one who knows. It's a guide which sees both the physical, both the material world, and the spiritual. And this makes Spirit, Holy Spirit, one who knows, it makes that part of us capable of guiding us, capable of showing us everything that stands in our way, so that it can be overcome. So, Holy Spirit is on Overwatch, guides us through any perceived danger, and it doesn't guide us through the perceived danger by directing some kind of violence, as we see on SEAL Team or the other shows like that. It provides loving thoughts so that we can take facilitating actions. Eventually, relying more on the voice for God, we will begin to see the whole picture much more clearly. Meaning that the material world will actually fade from our consciousness. And this will happen more and more as we practice. And we will be able to more easily make the right choice. And finally, we get to this place where we actually can overlook it all. That we can forgive and forget. And I mean, forgive and forget all of the suffering in the world. So this is our endeavor. This is where we're going. And how we do it is we practice every day. And you know, none of our brothers and sisters can do it for us. But all of our brothers and sisters are necessary for us to do it. Because we have to reconcile with them. And we have to also see that everyone who comes in front of us comes bearing a gift. And likewise, we have a gift for them. And the way we realize and the way we understand is to wait and let Overwatch, let the Holy Spirit, who we're now calling Overwatch, let that guide us in receiving and then giving. So here's a poem by Rumi about this. He says, be quiet. And this is the secret. Be quiet. Be silent. Allow, and you know, I have to say this every once in a while. My grandfather was a lay minister in the Baptist church, and he would always, when there became a ruckus in the house, he would say, be still. And I always thought he meant shut up. And he did in a way. But what he was really saying was get quiet. He was really saying, because he was actually quoting the line that says, be still and know that I am God. Trying to bring us into some awareness that, you know, we weren't savages. So but Rumi says, be silent here, be still. He says, last night I became mad. Love saw me and said, I am here. Don't shout. Don't wail. Just be silent. Don't talk about the mundane. Talk of nothing but beauty. I am the servant of this magnificence. Just be silent. I said, oh, love, what I fear is something else. And love said, there is nothing else. Just be silent. I will whisper great secrets in your ear. Just nod yes. And be silent. And I said, love is the face angel or human. And love said, neither angel nor human. And I said, I will lose my mind if you don't tell me. And love said, then lose your mind. And stay that way. Just be silent. You who sit in this house filled with images and illusions, get up. Walk out the door. Go. And be silent. Very good. See past. To shift our perspective. To see things, this is the essence, of course, when we talk about forgiveness. This is the essence. To realize that what originates in the ego mind is projected out into the world. And we've said this so long. That the world we see is actually an image, a symbol, for what's going on inside of us. Now, I'm not talking about the nitty-gritty details. I'm talking about the overall feel of the thing. However we are experiencing the world, that's coming directly out of what we are sending forth. It's almost as if the world itself is a big movie screen, and we're projecting onto it. So what originates in the ego mind is projected out into the world. But spirit on Overwatch sees what is projected, but also knows the truth, that it's a projection. Did you ever hear, sometimes we hear this now because people are more aware of it, someone will get on television, give them a microphone, and they will start talking about stuff, and then someone will make a comment, she's projecting. Meaning, she is projecting what is inside her on the person or the situation that she's talking about. And so this is important to realize that we have a tendency to do that we feel our own guilt and we project it onto others. We project our own guilt onto others because we don't want to consider our own. We would rather foist it off on somebody else. So, but Spirit sees both. Spirit sees what is real and what is projected. And so then we decide who's going to be the teacher here. Is it going to be the ego projector? Or is it going to be the Holy Spirit? So the Holy Spirit is encouraging us to forgive the projection, is what's going on. The Holy Spirit says, you got to see this differently. Understand that you just projected your fear out into the world. We choose the leader, though. Who are we going to listen to? We're going to listen to ego, or we're going to take divine guidance? So we can decide right now to take all these disturbances. So here's the thing. Now, once I realize that I'm projecting into the world, and the Holy Spirit is informing me that all these issues and anxieties and fears, everything else that I'm having, that these are just projections from me, the next step is to bring them back inside. Is to actually, and this is the value of the meditation, is because it gives us the ability to image in our minds. So we see a bad situation occurring in the world, even if it doesn't seem to have anything to do with us, but we know and we're concerned that it is bad. The next step after we view it is to bring it back inside our mind. Stop thinking about it as being out there, bring it back and give it to Spirit, to it. To actually visualize it in our minds. All the upsetting things that we see in the outer world must be brought back within for the calming powers of love to shift our perception. So focusing on the outside, if we continue to focus on the outside, it keeps us stuck on the outside. It keeps us stuck in that experience. It keeps us stuck in a repeating cycle of action and reaction. So this inner refuge, this place inside of us, is really the only lasting refuge. And it really is eternity. I mean, it's timeless. We are there. We will always be there. And this that we see on the outside is continually changing and will eventually fall down to dust. This inner refuge is not dependent on any outer thing. It is unbounded, vast expanse with space for all of our concerns. Then this is where the true self resides. Shifting our focus from the seeming problems in the world, we visualize them in mind and allow them to be healed. And this is the thing, no matter how great the challenge, we can see it met in mind. And as we hold that inner vision, the outer will change. So think about whatever the problem is, and right now, if we're talking about the material world, the biggest problem that we have is not the present. Although that's a problem, all right? But the biggest problem that we have is the environment. This is the biggest ongoing problem that we have, and it's the biggest for the younger we are, the bigger the problem it is. Because the younger we are, the more we're going to have to live with the results of this. And so I'm really encouraged by all the young people participating now in doing something about this. But okay, so this, and right now, so here's what the old men are saying. Mostly old white men. The old men are saying, it's too much, we can't do anything about it. Now we just have to live with it. We're just going to have to live with it right now because it's just over. There's no way we can fix it. And then someone will say something stupid like, it's going to cost too much money. Cost too much money, taxpayers can't afford it. But there actually are economists who have run the numbers, and it turns out that it's going to be much less expensive for us to start to fix this problem than for us to pay for the consequences that are occurring now. So it's more expensive. But guess what? Here's the problem. People in power right now, the status quo is more attractive because, hey, man, it scares me when I think about, look, if I'm in control right now and all of a sudden there are these proposals that I don't know if I can navigate, then I might actually lose my control, I might actually lose my position of power. I might be just willing to roll the dice and say, I'd rather just see what happens. Maybe I could just say, I'm gonna die soon anyway, let me just enjoy. But okay, so this is complicated, right? We go back and forth, and actually reasonable people could disagree on what we should do, but there is a voice out there that says it's too late, except that the scientists are saying it's not too late. We actually can do something. I would rather trust them. But the point I want to get across here is, in your mind, each and every one of us, in our minds, we can see the problem solved. In our minds, we can visualize the world washed clean. In our minds, we can see it. And this is so important because that's where it has to start. Because if I have my mind made up that it can't be fixed, then I just resign. Then I just go into resignation and say, oh, I guess we'll just plod forward and just do the best we can with what we've got. No! Let's get quiet. Let's get quiet, and in our own minds, let us see the world healed. Let us see the environment returned to its pristine, original condition. Now, we can see it all in our mind. We can actually see it in our mind. We can see it perfect. And we can see it perfectly. Now, just think about this. If all of us, or a good portion of us, at least those who are of the same opinion, if all of us who are of the same opinion would just sit and visualize this thing healed, I believe that many solutions would occur, that many ideas would come forth. But more than that, there would be the political will to actually do something about it in the outer world. So I am not a person who is for just running willy-nilly out into the world and marching and protesting and all this kind of stuff, unless you're called to. If you're called to do it, that's fine. But I would much rather see us be quiet and get an image in our mind of what we could do, our part. What is our part in this? What can we do? Get that image and move forward on that plan, which I then would have some confidence is being directed by the Holy Spirit. Some confidence is being directed by Overwatch. That this position that the Holy Spirit, that I am not aware, that there are things happening that I am not aware of in my small consciousness. But Overwatch is aware. Because Overwatch has a higher vantage point. And the reason that we practice and the reason that we do the meditation, the reason that we are trying to improve our conscious contact with the God of our understanding is so that we can have higher consciousness. And as we raise our own consciousness, we see more and more what is for the common welfare. We see it clearer and clearer what is for the common welfare, but we always need to rely on being quiet, like Rumi says right here. To be quiet and listen for Spirit to guide us. And an idea will come that has not been thought of before. And we will share it with someone. And someone else will share an idea that has not been thought of before. And it will grow into something, you know what, ideas actually may already be out there. And what will happen in our meditation is we will latch on to them. And then by believing and repeating them to others, give them strength so that this movement can actually forestall this disaster that is occurring. So how do we do it? Here's what Rumi says. I'm going to end with this. He says, this is how you do it. You do it like this. Like this. If anyone asks you what the perfect satisfaction of all of your wanting will look like, lift your face and say, like And if someone mentions the gracefulness of the night sky, climb up on the roof and dance and say, like this. And if anyone wants to know what spirit is, or what God's fragrance means, lean your head toward her or him. Keep your face close there, like this. And if someone quotes the old poetic image about clouds gradually uncovering the moon, slowly loosen, knot by knot, the strings of your rope, like this. And if someone wonders how Jesus raised the dead, don't try to explain the miracle. Kiss them on the lips, like this. And when someone asks what it means to die for love, point here.